Jessica checks her savings account on a Tuesday morning. $18,742. She's been saving $400 every single month for 4 years. 2 more months, and she'll finally cross $20,000. Then, her check engine light comes on. Transmission failure, $2,800. Her balance drops to $15,942. She's back to where she was 8 months ago. She'll rebuild. She always does. But here's what Jessica doesn't know. This isn't bad luck. This is exactly how the system was designed. There's a specific threshold in personal finance that changes everything. It's not $1 million. It's $20,000. Once you cross this line, the entire game shifts. Your brain operates differently. Your opportunities multiply. Your negotiating power increases. You move from survival mode to growth mode, and the system absolutely does not want you to get there. Because people with $20,000 saved have something dangerous. They have options, and options mean power. Here's Jessica's full picture. She's 32, dental hygienist, makes $52,000 per year. After taxes, $3,200 monthly. Rent takes $1,100. Car payment and insurance, $380. Groceries, $450. Utilities and phone, $220. Student loans, $280. Health insurance, $190. Gas, $120. That leaves $460 for everything else. She's been disciplined. No vacations in 3 years. Meal preps every Sunday. Says no to dinners because she can't spend $40 on a meal. Every month, she transfers $400 to savings, sometimes $450 with extra shifts. 4 years of this. 48 months of sacrifice. She should have $19,200 saved, maybe more with interest. Actual balance, $18,742. After the transmission, $15,942. She's not moving forward. She's stuck in a loop. Save for months. Emergency hits. Reset. Repeat. This is her 4th time trying to cross $20,000. 2 years ago, she was at $19,100. Pipe burst in apartment. Insurance deductible plus replacing damaged items, $2,300. Reset to $14,300. 18 months ago, $18,600. Emergency wisdom teeth removal, $2,200 out of pocket. Reset to $16,400. 6 months ago, $18,200. Sister's wedding, bridal party costs, $900. Reset to $17,300. Now the transmission, reset again. Jessica thinks she's unlucky, but here's what she doesn't see. These aren't random events. They're statistically predictable. The average American faces a financial emergency requiring $1,000 or more, 2.4 times per year. That's once every 5 months. But here's the key. These expenses cluster. Research shows people saving between $15,000 and $20,000 experience reset events at a 47% higher rate than people with $25,000 saved. The closer you get to the threshold, the more likely something knocks you back. This isn't cosmic, it's mechanical. When you're below $20,000, you're making decisions from scarcity. You're driving an older car because you can't afford newer. Older cars break down more. You're delaying medical checkups because of co-pays. Small problems become expensive emergencies. You're in a cheaper apartment with maintenance issues. You can't afford preventive maintenance because you're saving every dollar. Things break catastrophically instead of getting fixed early. The system creates a perfect storm of expenses designed to hit hardest when you're almost out. But here's what makes this truly insidious. The system knows $20,000 is the threshold. Banks know it. Employers know it. When you have less than $20,000, you're trapped in high-cost poverty. You pay overdraft fees, $35 every time you miscalculate by $20. Late fees because an unexpected expense throws off your budget, another $25 to $50. You can't qualify for best interest rates? You're paying 18% on credit cards instead of 12%. You can't buy in bulk even when it saves money. You're paying the convenience premium on everything. Americans with less than $20,000 in savings pay an average of $1,840 per year in fees and penalties that people with $20,000 or more almost never pay. That's $153 monthly. Over 10 years, $18,400. You're being taxed for being poor, and that tax keeps you from crossing the threshold that would eliminate it. Perfect trap. Now, let me show you what happens when you cross $20,000. First, your brain changes. When you're living paycheck to paycheck with minimal savings, your brain operates in survival mode. The amygdala is hyperactive. You're constantly scanning for threats. Studies show financial scarcity reduces your effective IQ by 13 points. You're literally less capable of making good decisions because your mental bandwidth is consumed by survival. But when you cross $20,000, your prefrontal cortex can actually function. You're not in panic mode. You can think strategically. You can evaluate opportunities instead of just reacting to crises. Second, your relationship with work transforms. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, you have zero negotiating power. Your boss knows you need that next check. You'll accept whatever they offer. But $20,000 changes everything. Suddenly, you have walking away money. You could quit and survive for months while finding something better. Employees with $20,000 or more in savings earn 23% more over their careers than employees with less than $5,000. Not because they're more skilled, because they can negotiate. They can ask for raises without fear. They can leave bad situations. That $20,000 isn't just savings, it's leverage. This is exactly why employers want you broke. A desperate employee is a cheap employee. Third, opportunities start appearing that were invisible before. When you're broke, everything looks like a threat. When you have $20,000, you start seeing opportunities. A friend starting a business needs investors. A rental property below value. A career conference that costs $2,000. These opportunities were always there. You just couldn't see them because your brain was managing survival. Now let me show you how someone who understands the system plays this differently. Meet Richard. He's 28, makes $58,000 as a software developer, $6,000 more than Jessica. He crossed $20,000 at age 24. Not because he's smarter, because his parents taught him the game. Live like you make $35,000, even though you're making $52,000. Put the difference in investments automatically. Never see it. Richard did this. Within 28 months, he had $20,000. Then, he had the transmission problem. But Richard didn't dip into his $20,000. He had a separate emergency fund of $3,000 for exactly this. The $20,000 was investment money, untouchable. His emergency fund took the hit. He rebuilt it over 6 months, while his $20,000 kept growing. When Richard's company offered him a 3% raise, he countered with 12%. They said no. He interviewed elsewhere. 4 offers in 3 weeks. He went back with the best offer. They matched it. Salary jumped to $65,000. Jessica asked for a raise the same year. They offered 2%. She took it because she couldn't risk her job. Salary went to $53,000. Same industry, similar skills, different outcome. The only difference was the $20,000. Richard had leverage, Jessica didn't. When Richard saw a condo below market value, he bought it, put $15,000 down, kept his $20,000 intact, financed the rest. Fixed it up, increased value by $40,000, refinanced, pulled out his down payment plus $10,000 equity, kept it as a rental, generating $300 monthly. Jessica saw the same listing. She thought, I wish I could do that. But with only $18,000, and knowing she might need it for emergencies, she couldn't risk it. Richard built wealth. Jessica stayed stuck. Here's what makes this even more brutal. The system ensures the barrier is highest when you're closest to crossing it. Think about your 20s and early 30s. Student loans hit repayment. You're building your career at lower salaries. You're moving cities, attending weddings, establishing adult life. Every milestone in this phase extracts money right when you should be building your foundation. By the time these expenses slow down, you're mid-30s. You've lost 15 years of compound growth. If Jessica had $20,000 invested at 22 instead of 37, it would grow to $186,000 by retirement. Starting at 37, it grows to $87,000. Same contributions, different timing. The system stole $99,000 from her future by keeping her below the threshold for 15 years. After the transmission repair, Jessica's at $15,942. She has 2 paths. Path 1 is what she's been doing. Rebuild slowly. Save $400 monthly. Hope nothing breaks. This leads nowhere. She'll hit another reset in 12 to 18 months. Statistically guaranteed. Path 2 is radical. Stop playing the game the system designed. Here's path 2. Jessica audits every expense. She's paying $1,100 for a 1-bedroom in a trendy neighborhood. There's a studio for $750. She moves. That's $350 saved monthly. She's paying $380 for a car she bought new because the salesman said she needed reliability. She sells it. Buys an $8,000 used Honda with cash from the sale. Payment drops to $0. Insurance and gas, $120. That's $260 saved monthly. She's paying $190 for health insurance with a $6,000 deductible. She switches to a plan with $3,000 deductible and an HSA. Premium drops to $110. That's $80 saved monthly. Total monthly savings increase, $690. She splits it strategically, $400 into taxable investment account, buying index funds, $200 into true emergency fund in high-yield savings. This is for car repairs, medical, life hitting her. $90 pays off highest interest credit card debt, costing her $40 monthly in interest. Within 18 months, Jessica has $7,200 in emergency fund, $7,200 in investments, zero credit card debt. When the next transmission problem hits, it doesn't destroy progress. It's just a withdrawal from her emergency bucket. Her investment bucket keeps compounding. Within 32 months of these changes, Jessica crosses $20,000 in total liquid assets. She's on the other side. She asks for a raise. Not 2%. She asks for 15%. They offer 8%. She takes it. Salary jumps to $56,000. 6 months later, she interviews at a competitor. They offer $64,000. She takes it. Income jumped 23% in 1 year because she finally had leverage. 2 years after crossing $20,000, Jessica has $43,000 in assets. That first $20,000 took 8 years of trying. The next $23,000 took 2 years. Below the barrier, every dollar is a battle. Above it, every dollar works for you. The system wants you below the line. Because below, you're profitable to them and powerless. Above, you're expensive and dangerous. So here are 3 moves to cross the $20,000 barrier. Move 1. Separate your emergency fund from investment money. Create 2 accounts. Emergency fund in high-yield savings for life hitting you. Target 3 to 6 months of essential expenses. Investment fund in brokerage account for wealth building. Untouchable. When emergency hits, emergency fund takes damage. Investment fund keeps compounding. You rebuild the emergency fund while investments grow. You're protecting momentum. Move 2. Ruthlessly cut structural expenses, not small pleasures. The system wants you obsessing over coffee because it distracts from the real problem. Your rent, your car payment, your subscriptions. Cutting $5 lattes saves $150 monthly if you're extreme. Cutting rent by $300, car payment by $250, subscriptions by $80 saves $630 monthly. That's the difference between hitting $20,000 in 7 years versus 3. Move to cheaper apartment. Sell expensive car. Cancel everything not used weekly. Move 3. Protect the threshold once you cross it. The biggest mistake is hitting $20,000 and immediately blowing it. A new car, a vacation, a down payment on a house you can't afford. Don't do this. That $20,000 isn't a reward. It's a weapon. It's your leverage, your opportunity filter, your cognitive freedom. Once you cross it, never go below it again. Build emergency fund to protect it. Let investments grow past it. That $20,000 is the line between surviving and thriving. The $20,000 barrier isn't a number. It's the system's defense mechanism against you having power. Jessica spent 8 years trapped below it. Richard crossed it at 24. Now you know the rules. The barrier exists. It's designed to keep you down, but it's not unbeatable. Cancel the expensive life. Build the 2 buckets. Protect the threshold. That's how you cross the line that changes everything.